whole fucking McGregor thing and might just keep retiring every single time I have a laggy season and have to be stuck in Larne
So
until I'm
that's
back up in Belfast
every
again.
season.
Do it.
So I'll
So
retire at the end of this season and then come back.
this is not the herd with me, not Colin Cowherd, and this guy, not Joy Taylor.
Hello.
We are joined this week.
I'm in a good mood today.
I can see that. It is-
Rangers won. How can you not be happy?
We are joined by the Dallas Cowboys head coach James Earls, and
Hello.
he is ecstatic to be here.
Celtic won as well, by the way. That's why I'm very happy. Just for nobody's class.
A nice wee cross community win
Yes,
for the boys.
cross community win for Glasgow.
And that's what this podcast is all about.
Yes,
Yeah.
the SPL.
No, it's good. It's good to finally get on. I just said before we went live, it's really weird to be on this side of it, and yeah, good to get going.
The other side of the looking glass. So, as I said during the week, we're going to start with a wee segment called Would You Rather. So, me and Dan and James are going to answer these.
Nick. Oh, was it not answered a question? Sorry.
We're going to do Would You Rather for a couple of different CFM related segments. So, if you've never played the game before, you had a really sad childhood and you'll pick it up as we go along. So, James isn't actually allowed to answer the first one, Daniel. This is just for you and me. Who would you rather won the NFC East this year? Zach or James Earls?
James Earls. Just because I
And
love
why?
him. Just because I love him. I love Zach as well.
Love you too, Dan.
I love Zach, I do. He sent us a lovely Christmas card. I want to give him a shout out for that as well.
Oh, yes, I didn't say anything in the group because I was waiting to give him a shout out on the podcast.
Zach sent
but
us an absolutely lovely wee Christmas card, and he's an absolute wee fucking star.
I'm not embarrassing by reading it out. but it was
Adam has also
unbelievable.
sent us one, but I don't think it's here yet because Adam lives
It's
in
not here yet.
Oma. But
We'll
yes,
be getting here in February.
so thank you to both them
Yes, absolutely.
for being wonderful people.
Absolutely genuine people. I'm going to follow that up by picking Zach as the team I would rather see win the NFC East because I feel like he's on a run this year. Don't boo that. This guy
Do
is-
boo that.
I
Boo
mean,
him, James.
you know, whenever you go to Nando's, I mean, some people don't know this because they were born after the event. But do you remember years ago when we were allowed to go out of the
Yeah.
house and go to Nando's? And you
Vaguely.
could have, like, mild sauce, lemon and herb, spicy, very hot, you know, the scale of sauces. Well, Zach is the top of that. That is the spiciest sauce right now. They and the Bears hold the keys to the NFC 1 seed, except the Giants have an offense. So I'm really excited for them.
What a coach. No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of,
Couldn't
question
resist.
two. So, James, you can answer this one as well. Who would you
Mm-hmm.
rather be the defensive coordinator for? Okay, so this guy is going to be the head coach of the team, and you have to be the defensive coordinator for that team. Would you rather be the DC for Niall or the DC for Stoops, and why?
Oh, good God, that's difficult.
That's
I think I would want to come in with. I'm going to say Stips here. And
why
that
so?
might just be recency bias because he just came off of like the craziest win, which I'm sure we'll be talking about later. But I just think that giving him time to focus on the offense and the time that he's been just putting into his offense and working on things and just the improvements that he's shown, like over the last couple of weeks, has been nuts. And letting him focus on that and just seeing what he can come up with, great. I'd love to see it, and then I would come in and take defense off his hands, and then we would never, ever win any games because third down would be a problem. But yeah,
I was about to say, you don't necessarily make either of these teams' defenses better, but
no, I don't think any of these teams want me on a defense. That was one of the other reasons I picked Niall. Is I'm sure Niall's more than happy without me, but yeah, or pick Stips.
Daniel?
Well, if you take Niles, it's going to be very frustrating if the offense doesn't perform. But if you
See,
take
that's the
Stoops,
thing.
you're going to have a heart attack.
Yes, it's going to be frustrating for both. Can
Yeah.
you imagine being the DC watching the other offense go out there?
I'm going to have to choose Nile because I am prone to seizures and couldn't do that with Stoops'. It would definitely cause a flare up. I can't lie.
See, the other thing is I'm already extremely panicky, so like I just feel like me and Stips running a team would be just heart rate 160. Oh God, it's happening again.
If you and Stoops ran a team, I would not medically be allowed to watch.
Or support or anything. I'm going to go with Stoops, and the reason for that is a bit like James said. I feel like Stoops has got the offense locked down a little bit more than he did in the first couple of weeks of the season when I come up with this. I mean, it's not recency bias off the Saints game. He's just beat 2 divisional opponents back to back more convincingly than I would have expected Jonathan Stoops to do so. But there is that element, like Daniel says, I don't have a chest condition, so that's why I'm okay picking Arizona here. Okay, so Dan, James, you guys are the GMs of any random NFL team you want to be, and you have to hire a head coach. Do you hire
Adam Gase?
Both of these options are better than Adam Gase. Would you hire Adam Gormley or John McGuinness?
Adam Gormley.
And why?
I think Adam's great crack. No offense to John. John's great crack as well. But I don't know. I just think John...
Head coach of your franchise?
John plays very similarly with every team. You know? I think John plays the same way with pretty much every team that we've seen so far, bar maybe the Falcons. Whereas Adam plays, like Adam with Jordan Love is hugely different to Adam with Brett Eldridge, is hugely different to Adam with Drew Brees. So I think it'd be more, you would get to do more. There's not much point in being John's GM because you'd just be building a roster to do the same thing. Whereas with Adam, you'd feel like you could dictate like I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. Like Adam would play with a scheme, and you would have to get players that fit that scheme. Whereas with John, it's very much like, you know, whatever.
You should see, for people who are listening on the radio and not watching live, you should see the face that he's pulling when he tries to get these words out.
I do mean it in a nice way though. But whatever players you pick, John's going to make them fit his scheme. Not that that's a bad thing. That's just John's way of playing. But Adam will play to the scheme you give him. If I sign Adam a really good fullback and 2 good running backs and good guards, Adam will become run heavy. But if I sign them for John, John will kick him to tackle and roll out left and throw. Not that he just rolls out anymore, but he's throwing the corner to Hopkins. That's it. You know, it just, yeah. I think I'd rather have Adam head coach my team because I think Adam would feel very NFL-y to coach your team. Whereas John is a lot more like a college coach where no matter who you recruit for, yeah, I think for John it would be more like being a college athletic director.
That's a nice
where
way of putting
I
it.
would be recruiting people to fit his scheme, whereas Adam would scheme for the players I give him.
James?
Yeah, well, I think Daniel went with a sensible answer there.
Oh, good. So
And to be
give us the nonsensical answer, please.
I do. I absolutely love Adam, and it's been great getting to know him over the past couple of years. But yeah, I just have to say I got to pick John here. I just think it would be an absolute laugh. I know that's not what you're going for 100% of the time, but in this
To be
CFM,
fair,
I think
I've watched an SMU game after going to Cuckoo and getting a kebab and sitting in your house at 4:30 in the morning waiting for a taxi with Stoops asleep. And I've seen you and John commentate drunk on that SMU game. After one, we set up 3 ESPN player trials to get it to work.
Christ, remember?
One of which I was charged for a month later. I would rather you GM John's team because I think it would be fucking hilarious.
Well, you see, that's actually so weird because that's literally what I was just about to say there. I was about to say, I bet you me and John could go down to the pub and sit there and just plan out the entire draft board for draft night and just be pissing ourselves the entire time. And I still know that we're going to be drafting people based off of funny names, and he's still going to go out and he's going to make it to the title game at least.
Yeah, you would sit
You know?
in Parlour Bar with surprisingly reasonably priced cocktails, and you would plan that team out.
I take Adam for 3 reasons. 1,
John's a dick. I'm kidding.
No. 1, all of the obvious reasons. 2, he would come into the office and, like James says, he would be sitting there trying to work out the draft for them. Can you imagine me talking to him? Right, so this guy's got like a big wingspan and he's 6'4", good hands. Cap. Does that mean he does or he doesn't? I don't know what you mean. No cap. No cap.
I
See,
would
I
love.
speak John.
Yes, I would need James Cameron to be employed as well as assistant GM as like a translator, like Bielsa has in the Premier League. He would stand beside me when I go, sus, and just look at him like, explain it as you would a child, sort of thing. Like
The third reason obviously being because he's the head coach of the team, and I don't want to turn up after the draft and be like, where's he now? Seattle? Why is he going there?
True. What
You'd
would
only
be?
get him for a year.
Yeah, it would be like Brady in Tampa. You're not really building around him.
Okay, so Daniel, you're a cornerback. James, you're a wide receiver. Who would you rather play?
One of those statements is true.
Who would you rather play for? James Cameron or Nick?
Nick,
Daniel's right in there.
if I need to explain, you haven't been following the group chat.
Nick was always there.
You've
Okay.
if I had to explain that, you've never met James Cameron.
That's obvious enough. James, who'd you rather play for?
If I pick Nick, do me and James Cameron lose bromance of the year next year?
Well, I think
No,
you already
I-
lost
I-
just by saying that.
I got
He's
it. I
trying to
actually
swing the
gotta
vote.
pick Nick here.
Big
We'll still
pick,
win
Nick.
it anyway. Doesn't matter. But I got to pick Nick. I just think that like what he's building there, what he's going, like how passionate he is about this CFM. I think it would be absolutely a joy to play for Nick. Well, except whenever you lose, he seems to get really pissed off at his receivers when he loses. But you know, yeah, no, hands down.
Breaking news: since joining Nick, Daniel has converted from a cornerback to a fullback.
Other slight breaking news for anybody who has BT Sport in the group
Oh,
and watches
sure.
college football.
Are we allowed to announce this?
Well, Adam Schefter's announced it. So
Oh, everybody knows it.
ESPN now have a 10-year agreement beginning the 2024-25 season that SEC football will be ESPN from now on for 10 years. So all your Bama games, all your Georgia games, NM games, Florida will
I'm
be
gonna give us
ESPN.
our first clean sweep here. I'm gonna take Nick as well
Yes, fuck James Cameron.
because I mean, if he tells you the sky is purple, you fucking believe it. It's sky's purple. You know, let's buy into what this guy is doing. Also, if Nick was to get to a title game,
But
would he throw a slant?
You can't
Probably not.
you can't hire Nick as a coach in real life and then be like, nah, I'd go with James.
I didn't even think of it.
It makes you look like a fucking idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
Next.
There's another question in here where I can pick James Cameron, right?
Yeah, there's you have two chances to pick everybody. So, would you rather call a game in the commentary booth? Who would you rather commentate in a game with, Zach or Nick?
Depends who's playing.
No, anybody. Come on.
To be brutally honest, Zach's amazing.
Depends who's
Crack.
playing. Right. Let's imagine it's.
I was just about to say.
because that is the best game you can imagine right now.
It depends. I would like to have both of them. I would like to have Nick for half time.
I'm gonna push you for an answer.
Zach. I would like to have Zach for the play-by-play, but I would like to have Nick to break the game down with after. But Zach
Yeah.
is amazing. Oh, James Cameron in the group, amazing. Zach's amazing crack, to be fair, especially in commentary. He's hilarious.
Ian, do I have? Can I? Right, one question. Can I hear Zach from the sideline in the booth?
No, you've only got the person you choose in the booth. Everyone else died. Come on.
I
Pick
just
somebody.
do you know I'm still picking Zach. I just feel like I still feel like I know I'd hear him just shouting, calling people all sorts of things, and I just think it'd be great crack to commentate that shit.
I think
Absolutely.
this is another complete clean sweep because I have to pick someone to counter me out.
Oh,
So
we've done Nick dirty.
whenever Nick just got a clean sweep.
Oh, well, fair enough, actually.
If we're calling the Saints Cardinals game and they go half back split, I'll bring the room down and be like, oh my god, it's an inside run and it's two backs and there's no receivers, it's goal line, this is proper power running, this is what I want, and it would bore everybody, and then Zach can go, eat my whole ass, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, there you go, that brings everybody around.
Brilliant.
So
That's CFM goodness.
I got three more of these. This is way. I might do this again at the end of the season. I think this is class. Who would you rather missed the postseason this year? Right? Niles Bears or John's Texans?
John. One,
Also
because
John.
Niall's used to it, and two, because the meltdown would be Celtic levels for John. He would lose his. Can you imagine the one, because you would then have John on commentary for the entire postseason of Niles games, and two, because can you imagine how fucking he would hate himself. I don't think John would leave the house for about a month. What are you doing today, John? Work? Really? No, sitting at home practicing Madden. Need to get good. Oh, he'd be told to get good by everybody as well, and if anybody backed him up, they'd be told to climb out. That might be the end of John as a person.
Exactly.
Like Ego the Living Planet. I think he'd die.
Well, they
He'd
are
fade
both,
away like Yoda.
they were both the Super Bowl teams from last year, but I
Were
do
they?
Have, I do want I do want to point that out publicly.
They
here
were the
that
Super Bowl teams. Only one turned up.
Niall is 6-0 and John is 5-0-1. But to be fair,
Pants collapse.
John tied with the Colts, who now has a historic record of getting hammered by James.
Yeah, no, it's got to be John. I just love chaos, and I think I think the bragging rights from winning the bowl and being able to just spew shite for the whole season, and then just have that ruthlessly taken away from him would be absolutely hilarious.
I actually dithered on this. I wasn't sure which one to go with. My gut was Niall, but I'm picking John for the third clean sweep. The reason for this is I want all of the NFC teams to make the postseason and then just tear each other apart. Like, the only reason I was going to say
John
Niall,
missing the postseason would make it hilarious when James Cameron didn't make a bowl as well.
I was going there.
Hello, CPU bills.
But I would really want all of them. I want Stoops, and I want James Earls, and I want Niall, and I want Zach, and I want Adam to rip each other apart. I want them all.
I feel
there.
we'd be missing something in the NFC if Niall didn't make playoffs.
See, I want the only thing that I don't want Niall to make the playoffs for, and I actually do want him to make the playoffs, is I want Zach to have the 1 seed now, because the two of them are going for it. Now, I've already made it abundantly clear. I don't see Niall as a threat.
We may
in
have to
January,
sim
so
a Niall game as well, which is that could hurt him.
Well, I mean, I would say it's unlikely to happen because he's undefeated, and if you're not simming an undefeated game,
Nearly did it. Nearly did it. The Steelers
again, you should. Oh,
It's a COVID season.
Can you imagine? Right, see the week Niall's away. We're playing 3 back-to-back weeks. Why? The Pittsburgh Steelers rule. No one's allowed to go undefeated in a COVID year. Don't worry, Zach. You'll get your loss too. So, who would you rather have as? So you're the head coach.
Yep.
Daniel say Bengals. James Cowboys. Who would you rather have as your general manager? And both these options are class. Adam or Stoops, because both have nailed free agency, re-signing, and draft in the last couple of years.
Stoops, because he would just get me a 75 overall quarterback and slot receivers and just do it at the Bengals. Hence why
That's really
I'm not
interesting.
playing in the league. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I think I gotta switch around because I think I obviously picked. I didn't pick Adam for my head coach, but I think I'm going to pick Adam for my GM simply because if I am playing, I think I would get really pissed off if. Well, no, because I really think I would rate what Stoops would draft me. It's a difficult one.
Are you,
but I gotta
saying
go
you're
with
not
Adam for the
satisfied
experience.
with your current setup?
My current setup is brilliant. I'm very, very intelligent with who I drafted. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Adam just based off of experience. And he drafted a guy with a funny name this year, right?
I'm just thinking, can you imagine if John was your head coach and Adam was your GM? You'd probably go 8-8 because John's really good at Madden and Adam's really good at finding people, but the two of them would be so desperate to spite each other. I'm not playing him. Right, well, I'm not drafting him.
Do you even care about Adam's mental health?
I would definitely take Adam as my GM. No disrespect to Stoops, because if I got Stoops as my GM, I'd be loving it as well. But
No, absolutely, yeah.
Adam's the sort that draft night, I wouldn't even need to WhatsApp him. He just knows who I want. Like, the two of us are in the same wavelength.
Not
anyway.
Jalen Rigor.
Yeah, an actual perimeter receiver. So here's the best one, and you are both getting asked it. Who would you rather win this Super Bowl head to head? James Cameron or James Earls?
Fuck.
Sorry, I was Jordan. It's 100% James Earls. Like, it's Joe's 100%.
Do you want to know something really weird? And I'm not just putting this on. This is actually a really difficult question. I fucking love James Cameron, but it's got to be me because
Why?
I want to win.
Why do you love James Cameron?
I don't
Is
know.
it just because he
He's
gets you an award? If it's
I've
because
never
you share
thought
an
of it that
award
way.
every year, that's not a good
Nah.
reason to love the guy.
Nah, man. We just click like James Squared's a thing, and it's going to take over. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take this opportunity on
You and Beth need to
on this podcast to plug the new merch that we're going to come out with soon. That's
plug
James
away.
Squared. James is actually finalising some not team jerseys, but like sportswear attire. We're going to get that all branded out and sent out to some lovely chaps.
What have you done?
I think the rule is we don't tell you that.
I've just worked out.
Is
that
any of it
Daniel-
coming here? Because I'll
It's
start
player
shooting our post now.
attire, so I don't know. We'll see how
What are you,
things
what
go.
are you trying to say, James? Did I not look like
I'm
an
trying to
athlete?
say.
to you?
Daniel,
I'm trying to say you're a GM.
I've given
Well, fair enough, yeah.
you have the chance to vote for each person, and Daniel didn't choose James Cameron for anything.
That's because you didn't put in, like, who do you think's a big, massive, useless wanker?
But you'd still choose John, sure.
Yeah. Who here is the biggest one-season wonder? James Cameron. Like, it's not.
I'm saying it right now. I would rather James Cameron won that ball head to head. Absolutely.
If you want to go,
100%.
if you want me to take entirely bias out of it, and who I think deserves it more this year, it's still a painful thing to say, but I do genuinely think James Cameron.
Yeah, we
I
don't
think
think either is
if I
actually
was-
win the ball.
No, that's what the
Yeah,
hypothetical
but
question.
I think in lag year for me, I do not think I deserve this bowl whatsoever. But I'm still gonna fucking try, and I'm gonna stop as much as I can to get in my way to get there. But
You heard it here first, guys. James Earls is about to start trying.
You know, have it now.
Strap in. No, I'm kidding.
And he's chosen his first game to start trying
sad part
against
is-
Niall. A guaranteed
I have
loss.
always been trying. I'm not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes here. I have always been trying.
Tries to pull wool buffers. So, let's, as quick as we can, as a 3,
I was gonna say, as long as you don't need to download the will, you'll be fine.
let's
but,
review Arizona at New Orleans.
I didn't see the end of it, but
What in the absolute hell happened?
Alan
Wow.
lost, I believe.
Also, I have them both at each other. Who hosted that? It was definitely at New Orleans, wasn't it? It was the Superdome. I'm 90% sure it was the Superdome.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I was too busy watching the stuff happen in the field.
It's Arizona
Rather
at
than
New
actually
Orleans.
looking at-
100%. Right, let's talk about this game.
Way to flip the season, Stoops.
Yeah, flip the entire
3 and
NFL.
3,
Absolutely.
3 and
Flip the
3's
NFC.
like 4 and 2's. Oh fuck yeah!
Not just that, but he's flipped the NFC as well.
Absolutely.
See if Niall beats Adam to the 1 seed. I genuinely think Adam might retire.
I'm just telling you.
Not from football, from his delivery thing as well.
Look
Just pack it in and
Look
move,
at this schedule.
move into a big hill in
So-
Dungannon and just give up.
If we assume that the Giants lose week 15 against John,
The shit monster.
yep, a fair assumption. That would mean that Niall would need to win
Stoops says
out.
it was at the Superdome. Yeah.
I have just looked at Niall's schedule and thought that Niall could win out, and here's a million reasons why he can't. He plays James next, so he's already won that. He's 7-0. He's going to
We'll
beat. See, he plays Philly out of the bye. I don't care if he plays like Clemson out of the bye. Niall doesn't beat the team he plays out of the bye. Then he's got San Fran and Minnesota, both grand. Then back-to-back games, Niall has Zach and Adam. The following
Plus-
contest is a triple threat match scheduled for one fall, where the winner will be the NFC 1 seed.
You got to take the forfeit into account as well. That's gonna really fuck him.
He's not being fucked out in the forfeit. He's being fucked out because he can't win any of those player games. Green Bay, Detroit, New England, Green Bay.
I love not being in the league because you can get up on your high horse, and I look good in my high horse
Yeah.
like a fucking knight. It's great.
Niall loses at least 3 games the rest of the year. I'd say 1 Green Bay game, the doubleheader PvP, and probably Philly out of the bye. 13-3 is great, but it's not 1 seed great. He's not going to be the 1 seed. Zach has a legitimate shot because Zach's games are against Philly, who are Zach's bitch, Minnesota, who are everybody's bitch, James Earls, who's everybody's PvP bitch, Tennessee, who are just god awful. I think he'd beat Niall. I think he beats Seattle. I think he beats Detroit. I mean, if I'm going bold right now, I think Zach and Adam both finish 15-1, and because Zach's is a cross-conference loss, he takes the 1 seed.
Do I have the worst PvP record?
No, God, no. There are 2 teams that haven't even won a PvP game in the last 2 seasons. In fact, you have the tied most wins. The 2 Jameses and Zach have won 4 PvP games since the start of last year.
PvP bitch my ass.
Put some respect on that name.
It's just now we can't be.
Yeah, no, that is true. But that's why we're coming in for a big dub.
But that's the thing.
Against
A big,
Since the start of last
filthy,
year,
something we haven't had in ages, James. A big Dallas win. I miss them so much.
somebody's O has got to go. Niall is 0-2 in PvP since week 1 last year, and James is 0-something against Niall all the time. So one of those is got to break.
James is O an internet connection and download speed, right?
Let's preview Dallas at Chicago.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It has the potential to seriously put a fucking spanner in Dallas' season because they'll drop to 500
Oh, that's disgusting.
and they will drop out of the playoffs. Yes,
James
initially.
Earls will 100% advocate for us to move to the new mountain where there's 7 playoff spots. Like,
He's currently in the 7th seed. If he loses
Yeah.
to Nile, he'll be out of it.
oh,
If he loses to Nile, he'll be behind Green Bay, Minnesota, Atlanta, Carolina, arguably. If any of them win.
Well, like
going.
obviously I'm not thinking about that right now, but
Good.
because
You
right
just
now I'm
have to
taking it as
concentrate
if I'm
on
going to
the
win.
game.
if he wins, it really.
If he wins, Zach will be hard at the thought of walking down. But Zach's going to get a bye, arguably, at that stage. I only see Zach losing a game or two.
Zach plays Niall.
And this is a guaranteed win for now.
Zach would know then beating Niall pretty much puts him.
Well,
You should be a game and a half
Okay.
clear because you're head to head.
this is the thing that happened to Adam there. Stoops didn't need to win that. Stoops needs to win divisional games, just he doesn't need to beat PvP teams, but he has. Niall needs to win. James Earls doesn't. Niall's the one that needs to win, and he can look at it and go, "Well, I'm 6-1." Yeah, but you're not winning PvP games. That's your thing.
True.
And James wins loads of PvP games, but just none at Soldier Field.
Just none that ever matter.
Yeah,
No.
and this one matters.
I'm kidding. But no, yeah, it's big for Niall because he needs to go to 7-0. He needs to go undefeated in his bye. It's
Yes.
big for James because getting the win over Niall starts to look more like a playoff contender.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you why the win actually would mean a lot to me.
Oh.
I think this has been a really weird year so far for Dallas on account of, well, the head coach having a weird signal issues in the game, getting to the quarterback. But aside from that, I just think that it'll build a lot. It'll get me past a hurdle that I've never I literally haven't beaten Niall before, so it'll get me over that hurdle, and that'll be a really good takeaway from this year if I could get over that. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal to me. There's a lot of pressure on, even though I would say
Family dinner as well, Christmas.
thankfully we
fucking
don't.
scraps it. That's
Thankfully it's
getting
the
brought up.
COVID year, so. But
Oh no, there'll be a Zoom call, I reckon. Do you reckon
But-
families are actually doing Zoom calls
I don't know.
for Christmas dinner?
I really don't know.
Could you be
I don't
fucking
know.
arsed? Like, really? No offense to people's families, but could you be honestly fucked? Tell you what's weirded me out. The weirdest thing about COVID, and I've only noticed it more now that it's Christmas time, and you're getting a lot more deliveries to the house. The postman can either come up and knock your door, yeah,
Right?
Mhm.
wait till you come to the door and hand you the thing.
Yeah.
Or he can come up, knock the door, and leave it on the doorstep, and then fuck off back to the van, go about his day. Why do they do the wee sort of half walk? They come up, knock the door, and then they take like 3 steps back and wait. And then when you come to the door, they sort of like turn and run like it wasn't them that delivered it. And our postman looks genuinely embarrassed. Like he's not wearing the fucking uniform. He looks like he's a really shite burglar. He comes to our door, knocks the door, leaves the package down, doesn't go back to the van, goes about halfway up our driveway and sort of crouches and looks at our door waiting for us to come out. And it is genuinely weird. And I'm not
Well, the
fan of it.
crouching's weird, but
Yeah.
I assume he just wants you to not get your package stolen. But
True. Is he waiting there like there's some sort of fucking raccoon that comes out and nicks our post?
maybe he wants to know what's in it. Maybe he wants you to open it in front of him because he's just genuinely excited for what you bought.
We had. Oh, speaking of really bad postmen, not our postman, but a DHL delivery driver. I was
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting on a package
This
coming,
is bad, actually.
and I seen the DHL van turn in and park outside our house. So we'd just gone on a walk up our road. So I thought I'll turn back and go and get it off him. So I turned back, I walked down the driveway, and he's about to set the package down the floor, and I went, "Excuse me, mate," and he turned around and went, "Dan, yeah?" So I went, "Yeah." He handed me the package and fucked off. Now I've just realised that I could hang about anybody's house. Walk down the driveway, and when the DHL man goes, "Chris," I just go, "Yeah," and he'll just hand me the fucking thing. Like, I mean, realistically, you could get a good lot of shit out of that just hanging around fucking housing estates during the day. Like, I mean, because there was no identification, there was no, "I need you to sign for this." I just went, "Dan," and I went, "Yep," handed me it, and he fucked off in his van, left. Anybody could have nicked my new sweats, and I'm genuinely annoyed about that. Obviously they didn't, it was me, but it's not the point,
No,
really.
that's not the point.
It's
We'll
not-
be besides it.
It's not the point. He definitely goes through some training to be like, the first day of DHL training is if you're walking to a house with a package and somebody runs up to you, don't just hand them the fucking thing. Like, I mean, surely there is some level of security there, but no, I thought it was very poor, and I just want to criticise DHL openly about that. DHL dropped it, hit it, lost it, fucking useless. But anyway, continue.
Right, so we're going to wrap this up now. Daniel, then James Earls, give me 3 things about the Arizona-New Orleans game. In review, go.
I only really seen like the first half.
Well, then yours will be a quick list.
Yeah, Anzalone looked good. He had a big hit that I felt bad for Adam. It wasn't a fumble. I think it was in the tight end.
Yeah.
Stoops hit him and Anzalone just fucking bang leveled him. I thought Stoops looked good in defense. It was very, very tight going into the half, and I thought that was really impressive from Stoops. It felt like a playoff game.
It always does in the two of them, mate.
And finally, I seen Kyler's pick in the first half, and fuck me, it just looked like every pick he's ever thrown since high school. It was terrible. I can't see. I'm just gonna use it. It was terrible. Yeah, you go ahead, James.
James, go.
Yeah, no, I again, I think I've touched on this before. I think that one of the big takeaways from it was just seeing the progression in his quarterback play. Seeing him going through the reads. Ian said that one of the best throws he's ever seen, and I think that Stoops has ever made. Like pocket presence, reading the concepts. I watched that game and I beat Stoops. I think in preseason this year. I think we traded because the game actually had to get replayed. But it just looks like I looked at that today and I was like, that is a different player. That guy's like actually like properly thinking about what he's doing, and he knows what he's doing. Like, I wasn't saying he wasn't thinking about it before, but he knew what he was doing this time.
He's been accused of not thinking about it at times before.
The second point is just Michael Thomas. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? going into overtime, like that should never have made it that far. Not a hope in hell. Like, that was just like proper like, holy shit, Madden does not want Stoops to win this game. And yeah, like he was shut down for the majority of the he was shut down for the majority of the game, and then, to my knowledge, and then like just to come off with a big catch like that to bring Adam into overtime, that really made me think, fuck, Adam's got this. Like, this is in the bag. That's gonna hurt Stoops. He's mentally checked out now. He thought he had the game, and then so that brings like segues me well into the third point, which is just Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake has been such a cornerstone of that offense, and there's been criticism.
Cornerstone of the offense. Like, you wouldn't have him on the trade block.
You wouldn't cut him for a fumble,
I
would
wouldn't
you?
have him on the trade block. No, I wouldn't cut him. But like, yeah, I just think that, and even Stoops mentally checking back into that game in overtime, coming back and winning it with the new concepts. It's just
nothing sums Stoops up
brilliant.
The last 2 years more than checking out of a game, checking back in overtime and winning it. That is the most fucking Stoops thing of all time, and I absolutely love it.
Right, my 3 things. I want to keep away from some of them because they're in Player of the Week and they're in my 3-word game, which we're doing in just a second. But echoing what the other 2 have said, mental toughness from Stoops. It would have been very easy to throw that pick. I think Stoops was down 13-3 at one point. Like, it's easy to mentally check out against Adam. I'm holding my hands up. Could have a self dig here. I think my most recent game against Adam was 50-28. A loss, obviously, and it was a similar point in the game where Adam was up by like 10-14. You're like, well, Adam's up by 14. Like, I'm not getting this back. But Stoops kept at it. I think the game, in a way, deserved to go to overtime. But if Stoops had won it clean in 4 quarters, I don't think anybody would have batted an eyelid. Point number 2, I'm not surprised by this. His last 2 wins have been 3 points and 2 points against big divisional rivals that he lost to last year in San Fran and Seattle. This didn't shock me as a result. Don't get me wrong, the Saints were the favourites, but I'm not like, oh, Stoops has scored 2 touchdowns, that was class. The expectation for me was Stoops was going to take him to the 2-minute warning in the 4th quarter, the whole game, even when he was down by so much. It's not a surprise that Stoops is in a game against Adam. He's literally making a career out of it. They teased during the game that they were going to play in the same division potentially when the new Madden comes out. And Adam teased that it wasn't going to be with the Saints. So that
Adam and Stoops?
Yeah. imagine getting that twice a year.
Yes, please.
Like I say, I'll leave my third point because it's in the 3-word game and I really want to talk about it.
Here's a question: why can you not order pre-mark stuff online? That really annoys me.
I'm not pre-marked, so I can't really say.
No, I'm not. I'm not asking you to tell me, but just in general, guys. If anybody in the group knows, why the fuck can you not get pre-mark stuff online? I don't want to go. The fucking pandemic on. I don't want to go pre-mark. Like,
so before I do the
This is really
3-word
annoying me.
game, I just want to circle one other game we haven't talked about at all. I know there's a bit of a layoff between the game played tonight and the games played before. The Raiders lost 21-13 to the Rams.
Mhm.
The two takeaways for me from that game are the Rams are for real,
right?
and so are the Raiders.
Yes. Go on, Nick. Go on, son.
Last 3 years, last 4 years this is now, Rams against player team. John is 3-0 against them. Stoops is 1-2 against them, and Niles 2-1. And if you take away John and Adam, who are obviously hyperbole anomalies, just look at the Stoops and Niall games. Player teams average 17 points against the Rams and concede 16.5 points. Like, the Rams are a nice litmus test, and I feel like Aaron Donald was the difference in that game. And without him,
He's good like that, isn't he?
the Raiders probably close it out. The Raiders were driving, down by 8, one score, they were driving with 2 minutes to go. That's just a little flavouring for you, Nick, of what a playoff game could be like. You're that close. Do not be dismayed by that loss. Your 2 losses are to a player team and to a for real Rams team. Right, 3-word game. I'm going to fly through this because I want to get my pre-organised segments in so as we can get back to waffling. Because waffling's where the fun's at. Saints versus Cardinals, 3-word game. 1 offensive touchdown. If you discount the Michael Thomas what the fuck grab at the end of the game, the Saints managed 1 offensive touchdown through 4 quarters. That's a problem. That's a massive fucking problem. That's good defense by the Cardinals, but I'm looking at Alvin Kamara, who was 9 for 36. When that offense is not humming, it's really not humming.
Yeah.
And again, go and look at his week 1 game against Seattle. He won 21-7. And again, that was like 2 really late scores after the Super Bowl warning when Seattle shit the bed in the 4th. But until then, it was a really close game. Now, it's not an NFC West thing because he butchered the Niners 45-10. But when the Saints offense is slightly off kilter, there's massive problems.
Yeah.
Of course, Adam could completely rebuttal me and be like, see if Jordan Love doesn't fumble on that 4th and 2. Different game, but he did. Chicago beat Detroit 16-11. The offense had lie-in. The offense didn't turn up at all. The only reason it's not his worst offensive production of the year is because he accidentally scored a touchdown against the Jets in week 2. He won 16-11. The field goal at the end was unnecessary. It was a 13-11 game. I know they're your bugaboo team that make you a bit awkward, Niall, but it's the Lions. Get a fucking clean win against them. There's always blocked kicks, blocked 2-pointers. Herbert's in, then he's not. Just you get the Lions later this year. Just play them for 4 quarters and be good, because the Lions were unlucky. A couple of field positions spotting the ball. The Lions could easily have been in that game, easily. Denver on a bye, Dallas on a bye, Arizona beating New Orleans 30-24. Beats by Dre. Kenyon Drake was outstanding in that game, and again the fact that he caught the game-winning touchdown, not a fluke. Christian Kirk is not in Team of the Week, and neither is Sam Hubbard, because I can only have one Cardinal, and I think either of them can feel hard done by. Cardinals just did a lot of things right. Daniel pointed out they threw the interception really early on, but after that it was grand. They got down to the 1-yard line. Stoops with the most cordial, "Alright Adam, I'm going to run the ball here. You know this, I know this. No fucking about. Let's see who wins." Stoops just played a really sound, honest game of Madden that if I was watching from further away from the screen, I might have thought it was an actual NFL Sunday game. Really thought it was outstanding. Giants beat Indianapolis 28-10. 3-word game. Speed bump avoided. Anybody doesn't believe the Colts are a speed bump, just ask John. They are a niggly team to play. You can tell because Zach didn't score 50 for once. The Colts are really awkward. To get out of there with a W of any kind is good. Oakland lost 13-21 to the Rams. 3-word game. No shame here. I thought they were grand. It's just a loss. It's a cross-conference loss against a really good team. Raiders are fine. Houston beat Philadelphia 35-14. 3-word game, nothing to see. Because it didn't save. There was literally nothing to see. But it's also a pretty clear cut. John wins the CPU game by multiple scores. So I gotta announce the team of the week. I'm gonna do it again very quickly because it's crap this week. Because the Saints played the Cardinals, so I didn't get the two CPU opponents they would have had, and we have 2 player teams in a bye. So there's a CPU, quarterback, and everything. It's a really pish team. Week 6 team of the week. Quarterback Matthew Stafford of the Lions. So hard done by. He was close to the win. Running back Saquon Barkley. Second running back, I'm just going to call him Emery, because that's about as much effort as John put in. That's just his surname. John doesn't actually know his first name. Top wide receiver, Devin Funchess.
Why did you pick the other guy to head coach your team? What's your player called? Fuck if I know.
Wide receiver 2 was Allen Robinson of the Raiders. Didn't think he put a foot wrong. Tight end was Zach Ertz of the Eagles. The flex position is David Montgomery. Thought he had a pretty solid. He wasn't as good as the 2 backs above him, but he had a pretty solid game. Totally worth the note here. D lineman was Aaron Donald. Completely dominated large quantities of the Rams Raiders game. The linebacker, I could have picked any Cardinals linebacker, and I actually wrote the word Cardinals in here for the team of the week, but I'm going to give it to Tanner Vallejo, the middle linebacker. But Tyus Bowser was class, and Sam Hubbard played a lot of the game outside linebacker, it seemed. And the DB was Tease Tabor, who was one of the best Saints players. I also have written beneath the DB, not Marcus Williams, just not Marcus Williams. So overall records since the start of week 1 last year: Oakland are 7-15, Arizona are 12-10. Stoops, you're getting dangerously far away from 500 there in a good way. Giants are 14-8, Bears are 16-6, Broncos and Cowboys 16-5, Saints are 19-2, which means John gets his blushes spared at 20 and 1 and 1, not 21 and 1. 20 and 1 and 1. Fucking ties. Can't live with him. So, I'm going to shoot through the power rankings. They have largely remained unchanged. I'm going to get a lot of hate for these power rankings, by the way, because I don't have Arizona on them. The reason Arizona aren't on them is because I really like Arizona, but if you ask me, do they win next week or do they win in 2 weeks' time, it still feels like a coin flip. So Tennessee are still in 10th, and this week, more than most weeks, I do feel like the team above them beats them. So in 9th beats 10, 8 beats 9. So I think Baltimore would beat Tennessee, but I think Oakland would beat Baltimore. I think Chicago would beat Oakland. I think Tampa Bay would beat Chicago. I think LA Rams would beat Tampa Bay. I think the Broncos beat the Rams. I think the Giants would beat the Broncos. Don't forget the Broncos got a really jammy pick last year to steal that Giants game, and the Giants are better if you haven't noticed. I still think the Saints beat the Giants, but I really have to think about it now. I like that Giants pass rush a lot. It's not Barkley, it's not Herbert. I really like that pass rush. I think the Texans beat the Saints because the Texans have just too much about them right now. So 1 through 10 again. That's Texans, Saints, Giants, Broncos, Rams, Bucks, Bears, Raiders, Ravens, Tennessee Titans. So Blazing 5 time. We've got 1 PvP game and 4 CPU games. So James and Dan, I'll give you the Not Vegas lines, and then I need you to tell me who you think wins and by how many. So Oakland are at home against those Tennessee Titans. That's 2 of the power 10 teams. Thoughts? The Not Vegas line is Raiders by 7.
Raiders by 10.
I was literally just about to say that. Raiders by 10, yeah.
Nice.
Arizona at San Francisco. The Not Vegas line on this is Niners by 3.
Cards by 4.
I'm taking Cardinals.
I'm also taking Cardinals, but by 14.
Ooh, big oof.
Yeah.
This is your chance to show James Cameron some love and for Dan to bury him. So the Broncos are at the Rams. The Not Vegas stat line on this is Broncos by 3. If he's any sense, he watches the Nick Rams game beforehand. I'm taking the Broncos, but it's going to be tight.
Broncos by 14.
Oh.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say Broncos by something ridiculous like that, but you said 14, so I'm saying Broncos by 21. My man's going to blow them out.
He's just trying to make up for not picking him earlier.
That's not true.
It is.
So, Saints at Steelers. The not
Stibbs
Vegas
just said because pre-mark are shite. Brilliant.
Saints at Steelers. Not exactly the ideal team for Adam to sort of get right with. It's Saints by 7. I'm taking the Saints, but I'm gonna have both eyes on it this week. It's gonna be a game. You're thinking Steelers.
No, I'm thinking Saints
No,
by
no,
17 to 24.
You think he's gonna bounce
Seven.
the fuck back?
We'll go 17. We'll low
I'm
ball
going
him.
Saints.
Sorry, Adam.
I'm going Saints by 10.
Right, James, you're not allowed to vote on this one. Chicago versus Dallas. The not Vegas line is just to put it this way.
The Bears.
The not Vegas
I
line
love
is
that.
bigger than any of the CPU games.
Oh.
Not Vegas. Bears by 14.
Cowboys by 4.
Ew.
Big you. Daniel is going to bet against everything and just roll the die on Dallas.
Fuck Vegas, fight me.
He's a
Like,
homer. You
I am.
got to respect it, Ian.
I am. There was a little bit of me at 10-7 that thought we were beating Baltimore.
That's how you know you're a real Cowboys fan.
That's never good.
So, James, this is where we turn it over to you. We got about 10-15 minutes or so to roll. Well, a little bit less than 15 actually. It's okay.
Okay.
Talk away. How are you going? You're 3-2. That's dangerously close to the Dallas 500.
Yeah. Well,
Still
there's a lot to talk
NFC's
about.
champs at the moment, though, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. I'll be honest, it doesn't feel like it. Whenever you start a new year, you start a new year, and obviously this year hasn't got off as intended. There's been issues. I love the team. I want to say that the offensive line, obviously has taken a bit of a dip, but like I think we recovered really well. I think we drafted well and filled the holes. It's not perfect. It was perfect, but it's holding up grand. The main issue that we have this year is just per defense, not being able to finish on third downs on both sides of the ball. Actually, I feel like last year the offense was so much more explosive. This year it feels like we're playing a lot safer, and it's a positive thing and a negative thing. I would like to get back to being more explosive, obviously, getting more, scoring more points, but like we're handing Zeke the ball more. We're closing games out. I feel like I haven't looked at the numbers, but I feel like the time of possessions went
That's
up
good. I have. Talk away.
massively. But yeah, I like obviously so far negative. Looking to really get a pull big win out here against Niall. Maybe fight the lag, maybe beat the lag. We know it's going to be there, so we know I'm going to be
no
angry,
surprises.
and we know
Yeah,
everybody's
absolutely.
going to have a good time listening to me bitch about it. But yeah, still feeling confident.
I like the lag. I think you own it. Like
I think
it's
I don't
there,
more
but I don't
for-
think it dominates your games.
Do we think,
Well.
guys that are listening...
No, I don't mean I don't think it dominates your games. Like it doesn't make it harder for you. I don't think you let it dominate your games. If you know what I mean. Like you take your wins and your losses regardless of it.
Oh well, you have to. You see, that's the thing. You got to put it down to like any single time that I'm crying lag at the end of a game, I'll always make sure to say, I could have done this better and I could have done that better, because the fact is, like, I didn't go to the Super Bowl last year, and I wasn't lagging last year.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. The internet was better then, and I was doing better. The competition has gotten much greater. I haven't kept up.
It has, yeah.
Um,
That's a fair
So-
point. Like, it's not like anybody that's losing is not doing great. The competition,
there,
well put, James, it is massively better now.
I'm looking forward to Belfast James coming back, and not the one that
So
lives in
am I.
Belfast now. I hate him. But I'm
Wow.
looking forward to Belfast James Earls returning.
it should be
Is that-
an absolute riot.
I enjoyed watching last year. I very much did.
I enjoyed playing last year. I enjoy playing this year sometimes. But as I said, like, there's a lot more that I want to implement in my game
Yeah.
plans. there's a lot more I have, not on paper, but in my head, that I think if I wasn't lagging, I feel like I would be able to put out there, be able to show a little bit of a couple of different things on offense. Like the start of the year, it is interesting actually, because I was just saying about us being more conservative, running the ball more, and I think we definitely are, just because I'm just not as confident passing right now because of the current circumstances. But like,
Yeah.
I
Even
have
on
so
plays that doesn't
many
lag, you're
passes.
aware of it.
I have so many passing plays, so much explosion that I know I can pull off, that I think maybe we won't see it. Maybe we will see it this season, but like over the next couple of seasons, if I if I don't get sacked, which I won't, because I know I'll still be able to pull out a half decent record throughout the circumstances. But yeah, I know fine well that there's still a lot to come from Dallas. Dallas is going to come back, and it's going to be a top team again.
Nice. I'm very excited for it.
This is blowing my mind here, right? James,
Hmm.
I like fishing, and this might be me fishing a wee bit, but here, it's the only sort of fishing I can do now. Would you say that Ezekiel Elliott is having a down year, or are you happy with how Elliott's performing this year?
I think, as a coach, during the games, it feels like he's getting the ball more, but I would like him to be getting more yards per carry, I think. But I do think that a lot of that's coming down to play call. I think we're getting predictable when we run the ball, and I think that needs to
A
change.
little yet.
Um, we're not confident with. Well, I'm not going to say that, but especially coming up in the big game next week. But there is certain things we don't want to do with Zeke, and that is the truth. But I actually think that he has shown more recently that he can do those things, and I think I need to be more open to trying them rather than just trying to disguise it, because it like me as a coach trying to disguise or trying to cover up what I think is bad about certain players actually is me completely overthinking it. And yes, I'm having him do what he does best, which is run straight through the middle and carry about six guys with him, and he will do that for me, and he will always fall forward. Zeke's great. But I think that there's other things he can do really, really well that just because they're not his number one thing, I don't think, oh, we got to use that. But we can get it. We can get yards in other places with Zeke. We definitely can. Zeke is not playing poorly this year. I think Zeke is being limited by the play calling thus far, and that's going to change.
I
That is one
only
thing that I
ask.
can promise you will change this year.
I ask because it looks like, on paper anyway, that Zeke and David Montgomery are going to dictate a lot of this head-to-head game. Now, before we go any further, you only answer whatever you feel comfortable answering, and I'm not asking for any particular game tendencies or hints or. I'm just going to say facts, and you can just ignore me or whatever. But at the moment, I only have the stats for Zeke through 3 games, and I have the stats for Montgomery through 6 games.
Hmm.
But it looks like they've played the same number of games. So
Yep.
carries wise, it's a bit out of whack. Montgomery's got like, bear in mind here, Montgomery's played double the games with the stats that I have access to. Montgomery 59 carries, Zeke 37. So
Hmm.
Zeke is 244 yards. Montgomery is 327. That works
Yep.
out at Zeke getting 81 yards per game, which feels about right when I look at the like across the games. And Montgomery's getting about 54. Also, as Adam reminds us on a semi-hourly basis, David Montgomery has no rushing touchdowns and will likely finish this year with no rushing touchdowns. Zeke is 2, and that's not even counting what he's doing in the pass game. So, my question to you
He's
is
a red
this.
zone threat
Yeah, I think both running backs are
or a
crucial
goal line threat.
to the game plan for this game. Do
I
you
One
feel
thing
like
I am
you've got the
confident in
better back?
saying. Do I feel like I've got that? Of course I do. I was wondering, is that I actually was thinking he's surely not going to ask me that. Like, Ezekiel Elliott is hands down a better running back than David Montgomery, and that is one thing I'm confident saying before that game, like or not. Zeke will finish this year miles ahead of him, absolutely no doubt in my mind. Like, I have relied so much on Zeke this year.
Right.
That's not going anywhere. I'm only going to run the ball in different ways. I'm only going to get the ball to Zeke in different ways. I'm not going to limit him.
Daniel, do you think that Zeke is going to have more rush yards than Montgomery? Bear in mind, James is going to be in some tight games, and Niall runs the ball from midway through the first to try and run the clock out.
Yes, I think Zeke finishes with more rush yards.
What? So do I, but he shouldn't. Like, theoretically, he shouldn't.
Theoretically, he should not, but
But he will.
yeah, I think Zeke will. I have a lot of faith in Zeke. A lot
I'm
of
not meaning
CPU
to put
games
down
down the
any other
schedule for
teams in
Dallas.
this. I'm not going to put down any teams in this league. I think the Bears are doing really good. I think we gotta do different things better.
That's why I'm talking about runbacks.
But one thing with a big lag year for me, I think it's very important that Ezekiel Elliott runs well, and that's where we're absolutely happy to have him, because in a year where it is more difficult to pass the ball, and like I don't think anyone will argue with me there. There is delay. If I snap the ball, Zeke is going to get the ball. So, like, it is even more safe to run the ball this year for me than it was in previous years.
True.
And all I've noticed in getting the ball to Zeke more is a decrease in interceptions, obviously. I think Dak's protecting the ball a lot better. Sometimes there's obviously still those really, really poor throws, but I think Zeke's... I have absolutely nothing poor to say about Zeke, and there should have been no disrespect on the name last year either.
So I only have two main things I want to cover before we finish. Daniel might have some more stuff about PvP there. Firstly, I know you might not want to tell everybody, but it's my obligation to ask you in this podcast, what are you feeding LaVisca Chenault? Because the missing link is just that. He is literally what this offense needs.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant. Obviously, we lost Gallup, which was pretty big.
I'm going to
be
ask
honest,
about that as well. Yeah.
it didn't, like. Obviously, we would have loved to have 3 stars at receiver, a bit like the actual NFL Cowboys. But
yeah.
Laviska Shenault has really pulled up his trousers this year. He's phenomenal. Couldn't ask for any better off of him 2 years in. To be fair, like, I don't really know what else there is to say about him, because, like, as I said, the passing game's been limited this year as it is. But, like, if I get the ball to him, obviously we still pass, lag or not.
Yeah.
And Laviska Shenault, he's getting yak, he's running routes well, he's getting open, and when I do throw him the ball, he tends to catch it. Like, it's as simple as that. He's doing everything that we need him to do. I would like him to be more of... I see him as a deep threat. I see him as a real big deep threat in the future. I want Amari to be our... He's always going to be the number one. I've got big plans for Cooper. We love the rest of the guys.
More of a Fitzgerald?
I think that's a really good way of putting it, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think that Cooper can do everything. I want Cooper more in the slot. I want to be able to move Cooper all over the field, because I know he can do it. But I know that Laviska Shenault will also be able to go down there and get the ball. If I have to throw it, he's the guy.
He has made a number of plays that I vividly remember this year at key times in those games.
Yeah, no, he's brilliant. He's clutch. Clutch is the best way to put it, actually.
This is great to ask you while Daniel's on as well, actually. Looking at the teams, and you're definitely, standings wise, at the minute your record through 5 games, you're a big pullback from last year. You had 3 losses last year and you have 2 already. And I know you're not going to shy away from that. I feel like out of all 8 rosters, yours is the one that was decimated the most in the off season. Like, I don't know nobody else lost Leighton Vander Esch and Michael Gallup, and you lost more than just those 2. But those 2 off the top of my head, it's like Niall losing Roquan Smith and Riley Ridley, or imagine Adam losing, not Thomas, say Cody Latimer and Anzalone, or John losing whoever the hell he was with last year. It's weird to me that John's been the same team 2 years in a row. But you've lost a lot of key players and also some depth players for those key players. So this is why my 3-word game for you for a couple of weeks ago was, after the loss to Adam, was please remain calm, because you're 1-2 and it looks like the sky is falling in on you. But there's literally no reason to panic. You've lost so many pieces, and the odds still say that you're going to be playing football in January. I think it's really big that you do. If you don't win the Easter game back to back, that's fine, but you've got to be playing January football. Otherwise, that's a massive problem.
Yeah, well, look, here's the thing. I don't think the Cowboys this year, I don't think there's any other team in the CFM this year that has went through as big of a change in, maybe not so much scheme, but because of all these losses. Yeah, I like we lost a bunch of people in free agency, and yeah. It's honestly not even mentioned enough that we also lost a bunch of guys through trades because of really, really poor cap space decisions by
cap. Yes,
100%. The previous head coach of the Cowboys and the GM. But I think we drafted really well this year. We're adapting to this new roster. It's coming. We have issues, but I personally think we're just adapting better, and we're finding our new limitations, and we're finding our new strengths. We have I have more faith in the tight end position this year than than I think I've ever had in CFM.
I can tell with some of your passes. Yeah.
Herndon's great. Loving Herndon. We had a lot of issues to overcome in the off season, and it was a very, very stressful time. And I think that certain things, the stars aligned, shall we say, and everything panned out really, really well in the end. Thankfully, because it really didn't seem like it at the end of last season. But yeah, no, I've got no worries about the roster. Every team's going to have difficulties like that. Sometimes it just so happened that it was us this year, especially me coming back as coach after an absolute monstrosity by Jerry. But sure.
Time for my really weird analogy of the week. Again, you're gonna have to cast your mind back to before COVID. Do you remember you could go out of the house and go to the cinema?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Anybody, especially people listening in the chat, remember the Odyssey, right? And you can go to the Odyssey, and there's 3 different things you can do. You can buy VIP tickets for the Odyssey, and you get those really comfy seats, and you can walk in whenever the hell you want, and you can sit right at the front, and you get all the popcorn, all the drinks. Or you can buy a standard ticket, and you can sit in the cinema with everybody else, bit crushed, bit far back, but at least you can still see the movie. Or you can't get any tickets at all because it's sold out. That's kind of how the playoffs work in CFM. You last year you were 13-3. Now that's VIP, James. You get fucking bucketless Coke and bucketless popcorn. It works.
For sure, and it felt like it.
But you're still watching the same movie that the other guys are that are 10-6 that got in.
No,
Muggins
for sure.
Is the 6-10 team that's outside that just couldn't get a ticket for the movie. And this is the big thing that happened with Stoops. Stoops went 10-5-1 2 years ago, which must have felt like bucketless popcorn for him because it was a divisional title. And he was NFC West champions, and he got a home playoff game. The year after, he dropped to 8-8, which is hardly a massive pullback, but it's the difference between VIP cinema tickets and not having a ticket for the movie. He only lost 2 more games, but it dropped him so far out that he missed the postseason.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you this year is you're unlikely. I think it's safe to say it's unlikely you're going to go 13-3.
I'd say that's a fair assessment.
And if you finish something like 10-6, that feels like a huge pullback from last year. But if you're the NFC 5 seed at 10-6, it's fine. If you go 9-7 and you miss the playoffs altogether, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So
no,
it's unlikely you're going to get a VIP ticket this year, James. But as long as you still watch the same movie everybody else does, you should be fine.
Agreed. I think the major point that to come from what you've said there that has stood out in my mind since the postseason last year is having a VIP ticket to the movie didn't do us any favors last year. We chilled out and we got beat. It was as simple as that. There's been times where I've said I think if we maybe did have the standardized ticket and we got in and we had to fight a little bit for a seat to actually maybe sneak into the VIP section at the end, maybe I think the team would have benefited from that. I think we maybe could have went further. I think this team wasn't ready to go from what it was previously to what it became last year. And that's why it's nice to be humbled a little bit this year, in a way. I think that, like, obviously we're going through a lot of adversity with the lag and all that shit, but sure, I think it'll all benefit in the long run. I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with having a standard ticket for the movie, and I think that yes, the rest is nice.
I'm hoping this movie analogy carries on and people start using it. I feel really good about it. Come up with it about an hour before the podcast. James, the last thing I'm going to say to you, just on the whole humbling and the maybe if you had to work a bit harder for the playoffs, it might spurn something out of your team. Just the last point. There is only one team in CFM history that has finished 13-3 and not made the conference game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you twice.
Yeah.
For the Vikings and the Cowboys. To put it in perspective, Niall made a Super Bowl last year. Niall's finishes have been 5 seed, 6 seed, missed playoffs, 5 seed, 5 seed, 3 seed. He's never been a top 2 seed.
Well,
it does make you fight more if you have to come in the wildcard round. I agree with it.
Here's the thing. I, as a coach, have constantly been improving, I think. The Vikings year, the year I spent at the Vikings was rough. We found something that worked, and we literally
right up until it didn't.
We literally only had that, and when that didn't work anymore, we were done. I think we had a few things last year. As I said, I think we weren't beaten by as much, like so much only having one thing. Now, in contrary to that, I always think that it's good to build. It's always good to have multiple things that you can do. And that's what we're trying to do here. And that's what we did improve on last year, and it's what we tried to improve on this year. But obviously, you know. But I guess the main takeaway from that is I'm still getting better as a coach. I'm maybe not as mentally checked in sometimes as I should be, but like I'm still pretty happy about where I'm going with this team. There's a reason I've held on.
Yes.
So, yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on this week, James. I had a great time.
Been an absolute blast.
Get chat to you soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up on the podcast, we're going to be having the Raiders head coach,
Yay.
Nick. It's going to be a blast. So yeah, thanks guys. That was class. For anybody that is listening tomorrow, I hope the Patriots have won, and I hope you're having a top Friday.
Absolutely.
Take it easy, guys.
And just before you close off, that's James Squared merchandise website pending.
One last shameless plug.
And I do want to say that, like, yeah, I hope everyone's having a good time in the CFM this year. It's been good being a part of it, and yeah, I do love you guys.
Love you too, man. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.